Is your child a natural-born entertainer? Now is their chance to join the most talented youth dance crew in the Mid-South, the Blue Bunch. The Blue Bunch entertains Grizz Nation with their energetic dance routines and even have the opportunity to collaborate on performances with leading artists in the entertainment industry. Kids ages 7 to 17 are invited to show off their skills and personality for their chance to join the next generation of NBA entertainers. Open auditions are Saturday, June 28th. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
Summer of '99 tour.
You've seen the Grizz line jamming on the court and rocking out on Beale Street, and this is your chance to join the best drum line in the NBA. Grizz line entertains Grizz Nation at home games and events in the Mid-South through their impressive techniques and energetic shows. If you have experience in drumming and marching and love entertaining, Grizz line is the perfect opportunity for you to combine percussion and performance. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Sign up today by visiting grizzlies.com/auditions.
1, 2, 3.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio. FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle's right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't spend your Memorial Day weekend expecting PJ Haggerty to make a U-turn and return to the University of Memphis, because that didn't happen. Instead, he will be a KSU Wildcat. He's going to Kansas State. We'll talk about it momentarily. What does it mean for him? What does it mean for the Tigers? First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes from now, Roy Hibbert's going to join me, former college All-American at Georgetown, two-time NBA All-Star with the Pacers. He was in Indianapolis for Game 3 Pacers-Knicks. I'll talk NBA playoffs with Roy Hibbert. He's going to be here in the next segment. I'll also ask him for his thoughts as a former impactful big man, his thoughts on Zach Edey's rookie season. Roy Hibbert will be here around 10:20. Finish talking to Roy, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, feels like an old headline now, but since the last time we were in this studio, it has been announced that Jaren Jackson Jr. did not make All-NBA. That means he's not eligible for a Supermax deal worth roughly $345 million. We'll spend a little time on that. We'll do it in about 40 minutes. Rough news in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark, the reigning Rookie of the Year and economic center of the league, is expected to miss at least 2 weeks with a quad injury. It'll represent the first time she's missed regular season games with an injury since she was in high school. I'll tell you more about that a little later on in the show. The American Music Awards were held last night in Las Vegas. I watched them. We'll discuss that television show in just a bit. Dodger star Shohei Ohtani led off Sunday's game with a home run. Then he did the same thing on Monday. Baseball's biggest star is having another MVP season. I'll share some numbers with you in just a bit. And 8 different SEC schools were selected to host baseball regionals this week, including Ole Miss and Tennessee. SEC still standing strong in that sport. The bracket's set for the 2025 NCAA baseball tournament. We'll spend a few minutes on it during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's Carryout, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with what is our biggest local sports headline of the weekend, and that's that PJ Haggerty is now officially a former University of Memphis Tiger. On Memorial Day, the consensus second-team All-American publicly committed to Kansas State. So if you're keeping track, he started his college career as a Horned Frog at TCU. Then he became a Hurricane at Tulsa. Then he became a Tiger at Memphis, and now he'll be a Wildcat at Kansas State. Big Bet Bennett, I'll never forget where I was the day Kevin Durant announced that he was joining the Golden State Warriors. It was July 4th, 2016. I was at a golf course with Chris Vernon somewhere near what is formerly known as the Gulf of Mexico. We both grabbed our phones and were like, what? KD to the Warriors? That's how we spent that July 4th. That's my Kevin Durant story from 2016. What's your PJ Haggerty story from Monday? Where were you? What were you doing when you first learned that PJ Haggerty is now officially the first ever consensus All-American men's basketball player to transfer out of the University of Memphis?
I think I was on the green line. I think I was just doing a little stroll on the green line.
Well, that's nice.
Little bike ride on the green line.
You took a bike ride yesterday.
Yeah.
How often do you take bike rides?
Well, pretty often.
Okay.
Pretty often, yeah.
Okay, Bennett.
Yeah, I've become a bit of a biker recently.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Yeah. So, that's a little bit about my personal life. But yes, I believe I was on the green line yesterday when I got the news.
And I guess you'll never forget it.
I almost fell off. Yeah.
Almost fell
off my bike. Yeah, it took me by surprise.
I hope you were wearing a helmet.
It didn't take me by surprise. I wasn't wearing a helmet either.
Bennett, people die.
I know.
Bennett, seriously.
Well, it's the green line.
People die on the green line. I don't know that anyone's ever died on the green line.
I'm sure someone has. I'm sure someone has.
And probably not even because of a bike fall. It's probably some other reason.
Yeah.
It's probably
some other
a million other reasons, right? But hey, in all seriousness, you need to be a little more careful. You have children.
I know.
You have a wife who loves you.
Well, one of my children was with me, so it's not like we're going fast.
Bennett.
Yeah.
How many links do I need to send you of men dying riding bikes without helmets before you'll invest in a helmet? Do I need to get one for you? I've already bought you a pocket watch. Do I need to get you a bike helmet as well?
I have a bike helmet. Yeah.
Then put it on your stupid head.
Maybe I will.
Put it on your stupid head. I don't want to have to replace you because you died in a bike accident on the green line.
So it memorable notification. I'm not sure if it'll resonate the same way that Kevin Durant to the Warriors did back in 2016, but yeah, I'll remember this Memorial Day forever.
We're going to try to remember it forever.
Okay.
Did you realize, by the way, that what I said is true? And the thing that I said that's true is that PJ Haggerty is the first consensus All-American to leave Memphis for another program. Never happened before.
Okay.
He is a history maker in that way. There are only 7 consensus All-Americans in Tiger basketball history. Oh, I see you.
Yeah,
You're begging for a trivia time. Trivia time, go.
Okay, Larry Finch, Penny Hardaway, Chris Douglas Roberts, Keith Lee. And number 5 would be, number 5.
You're missing 2.
Wait, no, I'm missing 2. Was Andre Turner an All-American?
No, but should have been. He was in my heart.
He was in my heart, too. Elliot Perry.
Elliot Perry was never an All-American.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That is crazy.
He was never a consensus All-American. I should label it properly. And consensus, according to the definition the NCAA uses for consensus. PJ Haggerty is the 7th consensus All-American in Memphis basketball history. You have already named some of the others: Larry Finch, Keith Lee, Penny Hardaway, and Chris Douglas Roberts. But you're missing 2 more.
I'm missing 2 more. This is going to bother me.
It won't bother you for long, I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead and tell me.
Lorenzen Wright.
Oh, God.
Rest in peace.
Should have gotten
Rest in peace. And Rodney Carney.
Rodney Carney wasn't All-American. One of the most underappreciated Tigers of all time.
I don't disagree.
Rodney Carney.
My 4 years on the beat as the full-time beat writer line up exactly with Rodney Carney's 4-year college career. My first game on the beat as the first-time beat writer at the Commercial Appeal, Rodney Carney's first game against Syracuse, Carmelo Anthony in Madison Square Garden. And my final game on the beat, Rodney Carney's final game at Memphis, a loss to UCLA in the Elite 8 of the NCAA tournament at Oracle Arena.
And he's the Tiger that I credit with the kick-starting of the big run. He was a part of that.
He was the senior on John Calipari's first Elite 8 team.
Yep.
That's at Memphis. That is true. So that's the whole list, Bennett. That's it.
Okay.
And all 6 consensus All-Americans who played at Memphis before PJ Haggerty played at Memphis either left Memphis for the NBA draft or only after their eligibility was exhausted. None of them had ever left for another college program, but P.J. Hagerty did. Again, history made. So let's try to figure out what to make of the development.
Okay.
Obviously, on some level, it's just a sign of the times, right? Transfer waivers, NIL deals have created this world where student athletes are just moving around more than ever, quite literally more than ever. P.J. Hagerty is not the first All-American to enter the transfer portal in search of a bigger payday, in search of a new place, and he will not be the last. But it's hard not to wonder if this is really what he had in mind when he reportedly rejected a deal worth $3 million to return to the University of Memphis for a second season. Here's a question for you.
Okay.
P.J. Hagerty entered the transfer portal on April 17th. Do you believe he would have accepted this outcome on April 17th?
No.
I don't either.
No. I think the likelihood is, I mean, I wonder if he was first hoping for better news out of the NBA draft, because he obviously took this process, and when Memphis started signing guys, I think the writing was on the wall with, well, it looks like they're moving on. And you had talked about this in previous weeks, like it looks like the University of Memphis could be moving on because they're signing a bunch of guys.
And I've been asked by some, was it smart for Penny Hardaway to move on? I want to be clear, I don't think Memphis is better without P.J. Hagerty.
Sure.
I mean, that would be a silly thing to say.
He was an All-American, right.
But you have to make decisions as you're navigating these waters. And I don't fault Penny Hardaway for making the decisions that he made. I think he handled this the right way.
I think he did too. And so I wonder if he knew what he was going to hear out of the NBA draft combine, I think that he probably ends up just staying at Memphis for the money that was presented to him.
I don't know if he ever stays at Memphis. I just believe this. On April 17th, when he entered the transfer portal, I don't believe if you would have told him that minute, let me tell you how this is going to end. You're going to sign with Kansas State for less than the money Memphis is already offering. I don't think he would have thought that was the way this is going to play out. This can't possibly be what he had in mind. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's a mistake either. You know, there's a scenario where this could end up being the best decision of P.J. Hagerty's life. I don't know that that's true, but it could be. I mean, like, he's going to play for Jerome Tang. Jerome Tang is the 2023 Naismith National Coach of the Year. Great coach. Awesome guy. If I had a son who were a Division I basketball player, I mean this sincerely, Jerome Tang is the type of man I would want my son playing for. I would be very comfortable sending my son to Kansas State to play basketball for Jerome Tang. And Kansas State is a fun Big 12 program that was just in the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament 2 years ago. Memphis ain't been in the Elite Eight since John Calipari was here. Jerome Tang did have KSU in the Elite Eight just 2 years ago. So before, if you're a Memphis fan or a Memphian or just a college basketball observer getting your jokes off, just before you do that, understand that if the worst or dumbest, because you see these things get thrown around, decision P.J. Hagerty ever makes is joining a Big 12 program for more than $2 million, he will have lived a better life than most of us.
Right.
All right? I made all sorts of decisions after my junior year of college. They were not all great.
Right.
Okay.
Same.
If this is his stupid decision, he'll be just fine. That said, it does seem like he left money on the table. Possibly lowered his odds of playing in the NCAA tournament again and sacrificed the chance to become just the second two-time consensus All-American in Tiger basketball history. He did sacrifice that stuff, or at least possibly sacrifice that stuff. So I do understand on some level why some people are scratching their heads. Like Keith Lee was a three-time consensus All-American for the Tigers, but there's never been another multi-time consensus All-American. Not Larry, not Penny, not Lorenzen, not anybody other than Keith Lee. And P.J. Hagerty would have entered next season with a realistic chance to join Keith Lee as one of only two people who had ever done that at the University of Memphis, and by extension would have set himself up to have his number and his name hanging in the rafters.
You know, somebody made a great point yesterday about just this era of college basketball where you have a lot of guys that are playing for multi-schools. And, you know, will those guys look back one day, years from now, and think, man, I wish I would have done it differently, because there are guys that we celebrate with this program and programs all over the country that just were fan favorites because they were there. They were good players for their college basketball team for a long time. I wonder if I'm not saying he will. I'm not, but I just thought it was a good point someone made. Like, will some of these guys just look back with regret? Like, man, I know I was chasing the money, but if all things are close to equal, like, would I have not rather just, stayed somewhere that I just loved and could remember the rest of my life?
Maybe. I think it's probably easier, and I think you're referencing a Mark Giannotto tweet, because I saw the same tweet.
It was Mark. Yep, it was Mark.
I think it's probably easier for people my age and your age and Mark's age to drill down on that.
Yep. It's different now.
I don't know that you even think of that type of stuff when you're 22 years old.
That's right. It's something you're going to might look back on later in life, but at 20, it's not in your head. Yeah.
You ready? I'm 48 years old. That would matter to me.
Mm-hmm. It would matter to me.
I don't know that it would matter to me when I was 22.
Yeah.
But 100% it would matter to me now. Chris Douglas Roberts, imagine he came to Memphis, played 1 year, was an All-American, and then transferred to the Big 12. He would not come back here and be honored the way he was honored this past season.
That's right.
You are giving that up. When Hunter Dickinson left Michigan, he was giving that up. Mm-hmm. PJ Hagerty has gone from somebody who could have mattered in Memphis forever and had literally his name in the rafters.
Yes.
To that's all off the table. He will go down as somebody who played 4 years of college basketball at 4 different places and not really matter that much anywhere historically.
Right.
Perhaps that doesn't mean anything to him. Like, whatever. But he might go, okay, who cares?
Sure.
All right? And that's fine. But I do think it would I do think it's the type of thing that would matter to me. I will stop short of saying what other people are saying, which is that he just left Memphis to join an inferior team, because that's not clear to me. Like, right now, Kansas State is 44th at BartTorvik.com. Memphis is 71st. That would suggest KSU is expected to be better than Memphis next season. But 44th at Torvik also doubles as 9th in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So only 7 Big 12 teams made the NCAA tournament last season. The team that finished 44th at Torvik last season did not make the NCAA tournament. So this might be true. He might be joining a better team on paper, but one that has a more difficult path to the NCAA tournament, because in the Big 12, you're dealing with some monsters every game. And in the AAC, there's quite literally not another good team in the league. I'm not trying to pile on, but like there's
not right now, at least.
You don't have
not
to beat.
know about.
You ready?
Yeah.
To win the American Athletic Conference, you don't have to beat a good team ever, because there aren't any good teams in it. So it's possible he is going to have a harder time making the NCAA tournament for the second straight year at Kansas State than he would have had at Memphis. But it's debatable, I guess. I guess before we get to Roy Hibbert, let me make this one point. We could circle back to it later if you want. Mm-hmm. What would concern me I'll just say what concerns me. I don't even need to qualify this. Mm-hmm. I was going to say what would concern me if I were somebody who cares about Memphis, but I am somebody who cares about Memphis. Mm-hmm. I'm a Memphis graduate. I grew up caring about that program. I still care about it and want good things for it. What would concern me is this had never happened before. And on some level, it can be a sign of the times. Yeah, players are just moving around, chasing money and whatever, but it had never happened to you before. And when we hear about Yaxel leaving UAB to go to the Big Ten, we don't even blink. We're like, well, of course. I'm like, why? He's at an AAC program. He doesn't want to play in this league anymore. And he can get a lot of money to play in a real league. Like, why wouldn't you do that? We don't even blink when Yaxel does it. Should we be blinking this much when PJ Hagerty does it? Once upon a time, Memphis was just different than everything else. Mm-hmm. You don't leave Memphis. And it doesn't matter if Memphis is CUSA or the AAC. You don't leave Memphis. Well, this league is a real drag on the program right now. It is costing them in attendance. It is costing them in... It just is. I don't ever forget this. This past year, they had a top 25 team just about the whole season. It was coached by the most beloved graduate of that university, perhaps ever, and led by an All-American guard, and nobody came to the games. Nobody cared. I don't want to say nobody cared. Like, people still cared if they won or lost, but people didn't show up. Because you don't want to watch games against San Antonio and East Carolina and
No, this
Charlotte and whatever. And if you as a fan understand that, how crazy is it if PJ Haggerty just said this? I love Penny, love my time at Memphis, but I have an opportunity to play in the Big 12 in sold-out arenas every night against quality competition every night, be on big stages every week, Big Monday on Monday nights, as opposed to what? Play nothing but mid-major opponents from January through March in little bitty arenas and whatever in front of nobody, Sunday afternoon game on ESPN2 opposite the NFL. Nah. Like, that would scare me if I'm a Memphis, because this ain't a money thing. You had the money.
Right.
He just decided he wanted to play basketball at a higher level, it appears, in a better conference, on some level. On some level. I'm not saying it's any one thing, but that's got to be part of this, and that would bother me if I were a Memphis fan. Is our league now costing us All-Americans? It had never happened before, but it happened yesterday. Roy Hibbert's up next.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Have you always dreamed of entertaining on the biggest stage in Memphis? The Claw Crew is looking for members to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. Claw Crew members are hardworking, high-energy entertainers who assist Grizzlies home games by hyping up the crowd and much more. Not only do they support the Grizzlies on home games, but also promote in Memphis and across the Mid-South. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information and to register today. The Grizzlies, grannies, and grandpas have the right moves and are currently looking for new members to join their team for the upcoming season. These soulful seniors are a fan favorite group throughout Grizz Nation. You do not have to be a grandparent, but you must be at least 50 years old with personality, rhythm, and passion for performing. If that sounds like you, then we want to see you on Sunday, June 29th. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information.
With a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. And I'm joined now by a former All-American at Georgetown and a Pacers legend, two-time NBA All-Star, who happened to be in Indianapolis for Game 3, Knicks-Pacers. It's my colleague at CBS Sports, the great Roy Hibbert. Roy Hibbert, it's GP. How you doing on this Tuesday morning?
Hey, I appreciate you having me, GP. Great basketball to talk about today.
I mentioned Pacers legend, and you really are. Like, you're back in Indianapolis over the weekend. I know you were there with your family. It was all over social media from the Pacers and the NBA. What's it like for you to go back and feel that love that you once felt as a player there?
Man, it's actually fun because I was bought, sealed, and delivered by the Pacers. They flew me out, so I was obviously going to be supportive in every aspect. The difference is, when you're a player, sometimes you go through the tunnel, you have security, but I was walking amongst the Pacer fans from my hotel with my son on the streets. The love that I received was great. But I felt at the energy that the city has for this team was spectacular, and it's just growing and growing. I think this team is very special.
I don't ever want to project, so I can't tell you that the way I think I would feel is the way you would feel. But as I watched you and your son just sort of walking through the arena, one of the things that made me smile is that your children get to see their father received that way. They're too young to have real memories of you as a player, but they got to see that this whole city really loves their dad, and I loved that for you. Did you pick up on that at all?
I was nervous, the first couple of times I went back because, we'll talk about Miles Turner, but they brought Miles in and they kicked my old butt to the curb. So I was nervous to go back, after that. But, they've welcomed me back and we have a good time. But it's good for my son to see that energy. Hopefully my daughters can come with me as well. I'm not sure he'll be happy about that. But, just for them to see that and, to be honest with you, I don't want to always push my kids into basketball. But, my son said he definitely wants to play basketball after seeing the players giving Halliburton a high five and Miles Turner a high five as they're, about to start the tip off. So it was a good energy, and I was happy that they were able to see that.
So let's talk Knicks Pacers because we're headed into Game 4. It's now 2-1. Indiana has the lead, although they did lose Game 3 at home after blowing a pretty significant lead. This is not just a series that is compelling because of what's happening now. There's real history between these franchises, going all the way back, most famously, to the Reggie Miller, Spike Lee stuff. But you also have history with the Knicks. One of your most memorable highlights as an NBA player is a block against Carmelo Anthony in the playoffs. I told this story last week, I guess, when this series got set. Like, you can't walk around New York City when we're up there working without somebody stopping you to bring up specifically that block on Melo. How often do you hear about that, particularly when it's a Knicks-Pacers situation?
Oh, man, I get a lot of, texts about that. People they see memes, but I walk through New York. When I walk from my hotel to the studio, I get a couple people telling me, oh, man, Roy, you did it to my guy Melo. I tell him he's a Hall of Famer. I think he'll be okay. I am lucky I don't get trash thrown at me like some of these Pacer fans when I walk around New York. But it's an experience. I feel like the fans in Indy embody like blue collar, like hardworking people. And, I grew up that way. Many people did. But then when you look at New York, you see the glitz and the glam, Broadway, you see all those stars. Sometimes we just want to sock it to them a little bit, because they don't watch us play. And that's a meme that goes around a lot in the Indiana circles that I said post-game. But that's just how they are. We're a small market as opposed to New York being a big market. And we just like the David versus Goliath. We have that David versus Goliath mentality.
Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton had what has become the highlight of this postseason with the game-tying jumper that sent things to overtime, and then the Pacers pull that out. He hits them with the choke sign. Just unbelievable stuff. What do you make of what we've seen so far between the Knicks and Pacers as we head into Game 4 tonight?
So I'll say this. Just having seen the Pacers and several other teams throughout this playoffs come back from down 20. It's not, to me, it's not that unexpected that it happened to the Pacers, because they've done that on numerous occasions as well. But the thing that I've seen between these two teams is, one coach, Thibodeau, who usually has a tight leash on his lineup, expanded a little bit, and maybe he may go deeper into his bag this next game because they give some guys relief, get them some extra breathing time. And I think I have a little asterisk next to Brunson because he's been on the bench getting some breathing time the last 2 games to have big fourth quarters, but that's due to his hands being like in the cookie jar, fouling a little bit too much. So hopefully my Pacers can turn it around next game, hopefully continue to play with pace, because I felt at certain times New York was able to get back into it because they stopped playing with that pace, stopped taking the ball out, letting that ball move, get side to side and score and everything like that. They a lot more one-on-one shots, but obviously I want to see them continue to attack Jalen Brunson. Hopefully they can get him out the game, because the last 2 games he's had at least 5 fouls.
Talk to me about endurance, because I've done a lot of things but never once played in a basketball game, much less a 7-game series. And so when I hear Charles and Kenny and Shaq say things like Tom Thibodeau has pushed these starters from game one of the regular season, and at some point that takes a toll. Like, your bodies are just not built to be able to play this many minutes at this level every other day for this long of a time. How, as somebody who's been through it, you know what it's like to be tired. You know what it's like to head into a game 4 2 days after a game 3. Is the endurance or the fatigue stuff, how real is that for a Knicks team being pushed in this way?
So I've never experienced that. You know, my career stats was like 32, 33 minutes a game. Listen to I know a game we'll talk about OKC versus Timberwolves, but hearing the broadcast talk about how DiVincenzo last year was playing 40 minutes a game for the Knicks, and then now he's down to like 25, and that's more of like a manageable pace maybe for him or for whatever. But to me, it blows my mind that you could do that from the start of the season to the end. I said, before this series started, if Thibodeau plays these Villanova Knicks these extended minutes, the whole series, if it gets to a game 7, I think that the Pacers will look pretty good in this situation. But he's able to evolve, going into his bag. Maybe those players never put up a lot of points, but they're able to buy time, by fouls, and I think that'll help them.
Let's move over to the Western Conference because we got game 4 of that last night. Thunder win it 128-126. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP, goes for 40. For much of this season, even as Oklahoma City was blowing people out, creating the best record in the sport, there were still some skeptics because they're very young and extremely young relative to what a typical NBA champion looks like. They haven't taken a lot of the defeats in the postseason that typical NBA champions need to go through. And yet, here they are now, a sizable favorite to win the whole thing. When you watch Oklahoma City as currently constructed, despite their lack of experience, do you see a team that's capable? Obviously, you see a team that's capable. Do you see the future NBA champions in OKC right now?
Man, they're playing really good. The fact that they can get smacked how they did and then rebound the next game and come out with composure and still have that same sort of game plan defensively, to me, shows like a heart of a good team, a good foundation. I will say this specifically about 2 players real quick, then I'll get into the game, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I love his 40 points, playing well, but he also had 10 assists, so he's not just looking for himself, he's passing the ball early, so late in the game he can take over. So I love that as well. To me, this Chet Holmgren, so you have a guard and you have a big Chet Holmgren. He's been really feeling the last 2 games, finding his rhythm on the 3-point line, picking and popping. He knocked down some threes, and he's able to drive to the basket on Naz Reid, spin, get some dunks, and he's able to make really, really, really good decisions. So, and then you also have Jalen Williams, as a third player, but like he's playing so good on the defensive end that his defense, I think, is actually initiating his offense and making him better. Now, at them as a team, I feel like, they're a championship caliber team, and they're dismantling this Wolves team. The first thing I have to say is the defensive pressure. They're having the Wolves start their offense damn near by like half court, so they can't get into their sets. Second thing for me is just that they're forcing turnovers, 23 turnovers against the Wolves. They're jumping, trying to look for passes, and they're just turning it over, getting steals. And the last thing I'll say is just they hit the board so much when they have a team on the ropes, and then they say Minnesota wants to try to make a run back. They're grabbing offensive rebounds. Chet's hitting the ball back. Hartenstein is grabbing boards and is getting other opportunities from the 3-point line. So they really have a complete team right there.
You mentioned Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, just last week announced as the MVP, goes for 40 and 10 last night. And yet for every compliment you hear about him, you hear 2 people say, but he drives me crazy hunting these fouls all the time. As a basketball player, how do you view that, the way he plays? Are you impressed by it because he is extremely gifted and talented at doing what he does? Or is it frustrating because, come on, man, let's just play. We don't have to try to get to the free throw line every possession.
So I'll say this. I think it's impressive when you find your niche and then you're able to like continue to exploit it. Now, at the same time, as a player, I'd probably find that frustrating, but if the onus is on me either in real time or let's just say in the off season to develop some sort of like better defense, you know. And I'll just say this though, when I first got in the league, I used to get called for a lot of ticky-tack fouls, so I try to block everything at the rim. The onus is on me. The team is saying, Roy, the plus minus is better when you're in the game. We have to figure out a way to keep you on the court, stop fouling so damn much, so that we work on verticality galore during the summer. So the onus is on me to get better in my niche. If the game evolves, the onus is on you to develop, evolve as well. So I kind of like that he's mastering it, but then at the same time, you have to figure out a way to defensively, you know, be able to attempt to guard the MVP without fouling. That's pretty tough.
Talking to former NBA All-Star Roy Hibbert here on the Gary Parrish Show. I appreciate your time, buddy. Last thing before I let you go, because you are a traditional big, you entered this league and had an incredible career, and you know what it's like to play that position. We drafted a guy in this city, Zach Edey. You covered him in college at Purdue. You monitored his rookie season with the Grizzlies. Just what did you make of what you saw from Zach Edey in year one? And from your own experience, how much more comfortable were you on night one of year two as opposed to night one on year one of your career?
Man, first of all, I have to say I was wrong towards the end of his college season. I didn't know that he'd be able to move his feet and be able to play at a high level at the next level, but definitely proved me wrong. To me, seeing him up on drop screens, being able to move his feet, the team is switching and they're not over helping, so the onus is on him to keep his defender in front of him, and he actually did like a decent job, a good job at it. So that to me says a lot. And then how his team gathers around him and how they support him and how they have his back when going through something with Draymond. I feel like that's a rite of passage that every rookie or every big man or every player has to go through in the NBA, is go through something with Draymond and how you stand on that. So he definitely impressed me, seeing his teammates gather around him. Now, when you say the second season, your first game, your second season, I think the summer between your rookie year and your second year is like really important. I went into summer league with Tyler Hansborough as a rookie, and we won the Orlando summer league. We went I think 7-0 or 5-0, whatever. So I really feel like he can continue to work on moving his feet and then continue to be like an offensive threat. The summer's a time. Summer league is your time, big fella. I think he could do it. And they use him in the playoffs, and that's the biggest sign. My butt would have been on the bench if the Pacers were in the playoffs my rookie year. So kudos to him, as he has a bright future.
That's former NBA All-Star Roy Hibbert here on the GP Show. Buddy, I appreciate your time. You look great. I can tell you've been getting in the gym this offseason, and I will pass along a message. When my mother became aware this morning that Roy Hibbert was going to be on, she went to her first Final Four this past April, and she met Roy Hibbert, and she is forever a Roy Hibbert fan. She said, "Tell Roy I said hello." So this is me telling you that my mother said hello, and what I told her previously is that, Mom, everybody who meets Roy Hibbert loves Roy Hibbert. So you're not. This isn't unique to you. You make a great impression on everybody, buddy. I'm just thrilled to be able to call you a colleague and a friend, and I appreciate you being here.
Appreciate it. Love you, Mom. And you guys take it easy. GP, are you with me? I got you, man.
I appreciate you, baby. I'll see you. That's Roy Hibbert. Yeah. Thanks you. Thank you for being here. Roy Hibbert, two-time NBA All-Star with the Indiana Pacers. And I really did just love him getting to go experience that with his children.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Like when Tiger won what appears to have been his last Masters, barring something shocking, Tiger Woods' last Masters victory has happened. And among the things he said that he loved most about that moment was that his kids had never seen him be great. They know he's great. They know he was great.
Yep.
They have YouTube, but they never felt it. They'd never really seen the way people react to their father being great. And different stuff, obviously, but like Roy just being back in Indianapolis and having people be like, Roy Hibbert, big Roy, and your kids get to see, man, my dad did something. My dad mattered here. I just love that for him.
No, that's the thing. Like, I love his humility, because he's talking about how, I didn't know how they were going to react to me because they replaced me with Miles Turner, and I didn't know like how that. And I'm just like, dude, you're a 2-time All-Star. Like, they love you, man.
Well, they do, and it's interesting because I've talked to him about this before, privately, but I don't think he would mind me saying all this. That hurt.
Yeah.
It's not too unlike Mike Conley.
Yeah, this was your team for a long time.
Or at least you were one of the faces of it. You were a multi-time All-Star. That's more than Mike.
You're on the billboards.
He made All-Star teams twice in Indianapolis. Mike Conley never made All-Star teams, all right? So, like, he mattered
He
there.
did make one, right?
Did he?
I think Mike made an All-Star. Yeah, he did. He
Here?
did.
Did
Yeah,
he?
no, not here. I don't think here.
Subsequently?
Yes.
Okay, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He mattered in Indianapolis.
I think Utah.
Then they draft Miles Turner, and it's a little bit like, well, if we're drafting this young big to be the future of our team, we don't need Roy Hibbert anymore. So it's time for you to go. This is more or less what we did with Mike Conley and John Morant. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you mattered here, you were great here, we love you here, but like it's just time to move on. And even if you understand it, it hurts. It doesn't feel so great. And it bothered Roy. Like, not every day, like I hate everybody, because it's just not his personality or his outlook on life. He's a delightful human. Mm-hmm. Like, I love that man. He's the best of the best. You cannot meet Roy Hibbert, spend any time with him without going, geez, I wish he was my neighbor. He's just the best of the best. So he doesn't carry around all these the way I would or some other people would, but it hurt him. Like, I thought this was my home. I thought I'd go, and like, it's a business, but it can still hurt.
For sure.
And I know he went back there, I want to say last year maybe, but he had not been back for a while. And when he went back, do you know what he did? You could probably find this on the internet somewhere.
Mm-mm.
They don't want, I don't know what they want, but often, you see Tony Allen back in FedEx Forum, and he might be wearing a Grizzlies jersey. With TA, it'd be his own jersey, perhaps. Like, actual jersey that he wore, like, in the Western Conference, whatever's. Roy put on a Miles Turner jersey.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
To go, like, to say, hey, whatever was what.
Support, yeah.
I'm here, man, and I'm happy, and I'm happy for Miles, and, like, I just want.
Awesome.
And, that can be real helpful to just letting whatever stuff might have been there at one point, it's not there anymore. And then he goes back again this past weekend, and his son got to be there with him, and it was sweet.
That's awesome. It's funny how, like, I see everything through, like, the prism of the Grizzlies and the Tigers. Like, I didn't think he was going to be a good NBA player, because when we used to play that series against Georgetown, Georgetown was coming off of the Final Four appearance in 2007, and he comes back to school and everything. And Memphis played them early in the season in that 07-08 season, and Joey Dorsey got the best of him. Like,
if Roy were coming out of college today, they would be asking a lot of the same questions about him that they asked about Zach Edey, frankly. Like, can he play in space and all that stuff? There were real questions about how he would fit in the NBA, because the game was starting to change. I remember, I had to get too off track, but Big John Thompson, the Georgetown legend, not JT3, but Big John, who, like, a legendary coach of all time, had a radio show in D.C. at the time that Roy was in college. And I would go be a guest on it sometimes. And that was just always cool for me.
Like, I'm watching this dude.
Like, I'm talking to Big John. This is crazy. And, like, those are the types of things that always made me go, this is neat.
Yes.
Like, talking to Big John or Denny Crum. Like, people, when I was 7 years old, they were the biggest figures in the sport. And now I'm like, they're asking me questions. Like, that's where I go, oh, wow, this is neat. So I'd go on Big John's show, and we got into an argument, and I had to stop myself because I'm like, I cannot just be arguing with Big John about basketball. But it was like almost, he was like, and so if you had the number one pick in the draft, who would you take? And I was like, Greg Oden. And he was like, over Roy Hibbert? And I was like, well, yes. And he's like, well, that I don't want to misquote him, but he was very dismissive.
Because Roy had the accolades.
Well, Roy was just a Georgetown big.
That's right. You're
I
right.
was like, whatever.
It was his guy.
There's nobody on the planet. Roy would tell you this. Roy would say, I would take Greg Oden over me.
Right.
Okay? But I just found myself in this weird conversation with John Thompson about Roy Hibbert draft process. And I was like, Roy might be great, and he's obviously a great college player, but I realize I had this moment where I was like, I am young and trying to explain basketball to John Thompson. I should probably just shut up.
Right.
Like, this is a weird,
Right.
just found myself in a weird conversation. But whatever the expectations were on Roy coming out of Georgetown as an NBA player, I think you can reasonably say he exceeded them. He was a two-time
For sure.
NBA All-Star, and was awesome to see him back in Indianapolis this weekend. Game 4, Knicks-Pacers. That is set for tonight, and it should be just awesome. Awesome, because everything we've seen from these teams so far has been fun to watch. Let's turn the page. We come back. We will turn our attention to Jaren Jackson Jr., because since we were last in the studio, it was announced that he did not make All-NBA, first team, second team, or third team, and that means he is not eligible to sign this offseason a Supermax deal worth roughly $345 million. We'll discuss what that means next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
I need cameras to capture every waking moment between Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on the same team. The pregame prayers will be generational.
Because that's preacher and a deacon. That's what we're talking about here. That prayer's going to be 40 minutes. We're going to miss the anthem.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. And that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
The All-NBA teams were announced last Friday night, and we hadn't been in here since last Friday night because we don't do shows on Saturdays and Sundays, and not on Memorial Day either. Happy late Memorial Day to you.
Happy late Memorial Day. Did you have a good Memorial Day weekend? It was so-so?
Yeah.
It was so-so.
I think if I were to rank all of my Memorial Day weekends,
Yeah.
the weather, it sucked.
See, I'd probably put it at like a 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
9 out of 10.
How so?
Because I enjoy the dark and gloomy weather,
Yes.
but it wasn't dark and gloomy enough to prevent me from doing things. Like there wasn't like it was just raining. It wasn't like, severe thunderstorms.
What do you want to do out in the rain, Bennett? What is going on?
I told you I went and rode my bike on the green line. I took my dog for a walk in the rain.
One of your greatest Memorial Days ever involves you riding a bike in the rain.
But we went to MegaCon this weekend at the Sports and Events Center. That was a blast. The kid had a great time. My father-in-law had a great time. We went to the movies. Like, it was a great Memorial Day weekend.
I went to Target.
That sounds awesome. I love Target. Don't come on this show saying bad things about Target. That's why I wore my red hoodie today to celebrate Target.
I hope my expression did not imply I was about to say bad things about Target.
Okay.
I like Target as well.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't need to be at Target for 3 hours.
I could give you a solid hour.
One of the things I realize when I end up in a Target with, let's just say, other people in my family, one of the things I realize is that not everybody takes the same approach to Target as I take. You know what my approach to Target is? I need something at Target. I'm going to walk in, I'm going to get it, and then I'm going to leave. And that not everybody in my family has that same approach to Target.
No, because Target's an experience, dude. You don't just go to Target to pick something up and go in and go out. No, you go to soak it all in.
We went to get face wash.
Some Cetaphil.
There's some kind of face wash that they only sell at Target, apparently.
Then not that.
I don't know.
I use Cetaphil. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's something different than that.
Gotcha.
But your face looks great.
Thank you.
We went to get face wash. We were there like 3 hours.
What happened?
Man, I don't even really know. You just got to look at everything, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
like everything in the whole store, we have to look at it.
Well, you got to go by the clothing section just because, like, they've got like the good cheap clothes, and so like you want to just grab a shirt, like so that's one stop. They always got a Starbucks, so you got the Starbucks. You got to get Starbucks.
Somehow we ended up with another rug.
Yeah,
I didn't even know we needed one. I didn't even know we had a place to put one. For 3 hours.
That sounds like you had a good weekend to me. It sounds like a good weekend to me.
And then let me tell you what happened. So last night, we're watching some TV and whatever, and then we got the basketball game on one TV, but Lou says he wants to watch Rookie of the Year.
Oh, I love Rookie of the Year.
Okay. He says, I want to watch
Classic.
I was like, he was like, I want to watch Rookie of the Year on the big TV now. And I said, you want to watch Thunder Timberwolves on the big TV now? Now that the American Music Awards are over, you want to turn the big TV on Thunder Timberwolves? Is that what you said? He said, no. I said I wanted to watch Rookie of the Year. I said, Rookie of the Year, like the movie from a million years ago. That we could watch at any time. You want to watch that right now on the big TV as opposed to Timberwolves Thunder, which is in the fourth quarter and close. He's like, yeah. I said, okay. All right. I'm trying to be agreeable. I'm trying to be more agreeable lately. I don't know how well it's going, but I'm trying. So I said, okay. Rookie of the Year it is. Turn it on. And then I remember, as it's coming on, I have a memory. And you know what my memory is? I met Henry Rowan-Gardner.
Did you really?
I really did. He was sitting right in front of us at the 2015 NLCS. Me and my buddy Mark McCleskey went Mets-Cubs. Jacob deGrom on the mound.
Yeah.
And there's Henry Rowan-Gardner sitting right in front of us in the bleachers at Wrigley Field. And we got a picture with him. And I said, well, this is going to be neat. You know how I just told you it must be neat for Roy Hibbert's son to see Roy Hibbert like in that perspective. Because, like, wow, look at my dad. This is probably a cool thing. I bet you Roy Hibbert's son had a moment where he's like, man, my dad, this is cool. This is something. So I thought in my own little way I could have a moment with my youngest son. So he said, I want to watch Rookie of the Year. And I said, sure. So I turned it on, and I said, oh, Lou, let me show you something. You're going to think this is funny. And he said, what? And I went and I found the picture. And I said, you see that guy right there, the star of the movie you just wanted to watch randomly in the year 2025? He said, yeah. I said, look at this.
That's him.
I said, that's me and him. And I'm talking about no reaction whatsoever.
Yeah. Kids are like that, dude.
I mean, didn't even say that's cool or not, like nothing. And I was temporarily, was trying to, like, imagine I'm a kid and my dad's sitting there and my dad's trying to watch a basketball game because it's his job. And, but I want to watch Rocky. I'm like, Dad, can you put on Rocky 1? I'm like, Rocky 1 on the Sunday night? And I thought we were watching basketball. I was like, Dad, but I really want to watch Rocky 1. And he says, okay, fine. We'll just keep the basketball game on this other TV, and Rocky 1 it is on the big TV. And then if my dad said, oh, let me show, do you know I met Sylvester Stallone? I'd have been like, holy, what?
I know.
You met Rocky?
Dude, my kid does the same stuff. It bothers me.
How is me not showing you a picture of me and the star of the movie you just randomly asked for completely unimpressive?
Dude, it's so funny. Like, I didn't know. I go, hey, dude, Jalen Wells was in here the other day. Like, we did an interview with him and everything. It was awesome. He's like, that's cool. Do you know Ja? I'm like, okay, man. Like, come on. That's pretty cool, right?
I thought I had stumbled into like this really, like, where my son was going to be like, oh, Dad, can I send that to my friends?
Yeah.
Can I send that picture to my friends?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something. Nothing. No reaction. You think he's just intentionally trying to make me feel bad, or
I just think
genuinely unimpressed?
I just think that they're just in their own little world. They ain't thinking about what you think is cool.
Like, what if he said, I want to go see the new Lilo and Stitch? And I was like, did I ever tell you about the time I met Stitch?
Yeah.
Here's a picture of me and Stitch.
I did meet Stitch, but yeah.
I met Stitch.
I've met Stitch.
I mean, we've all met Stitch.
I saw Lilo and Stitch this weekend, too. It was great.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I was just like, I thought I'd stumbled into something nice. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. I just sat there and sat there and watched.
Been there, dude.
I just sat there and watched Rookie of the Year. I like literally watched Rookie of the Year last night. I watched Rookie of the Year last night.
It's a great movie.
It was.
Yeah, it's not as great as you remember it when you were younger.
It was fine, though.
Yeah.
You know what? As I was watching, I wasn't like, it was like a perfectly.
I like it. It's good.
I was not ready to blow my brains out.
Right.
Up until my son humbled me. Then I thought about it for a second, but just a second. Anyway, back to Jaren Jackson Jr. It was announced on Friday night he did not make All-NBA, not the first team, not the second team, not the third team. If you were Jaren Jackson Jr., would it just be like, it is what it is? My life's still great. At least I'm not homeless. Or would it be like, holy God, I just lost a lot of money? Perhaps.
I think the former is probably how he feels. Like, Jaren seems like the kind of guy that is just. I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to be resentful about something like that.
Let me frame it this way then.
Yeah.
Let me frame it this way then. It is totally reasonable to assume, and it's just an assumption, but I think it's a reasonable assumption. If your season doesn't tank and a stylistic change isn't implemented that reduces your role on some level, you might have been able to sign a $345 million contract this offseason. As it is, if you sign an extension this offseason, it will be for much less than that. And there is at least a chance you will never sign a $345 million contract.
That's a good question.
I would at least be like, yo, what happened? I was on track for this, and what happened?
You know, and it's funny. DeMichael said that it was close. Like when he,
well, it was. The voting was public.
When
it was
he
obviously
posted
close.
about it, it was obviously close.
Yeah.
You know, I look honestly more than how the season ended. I look more at that if he wouldn't have gotten that. Was it the ankle injury? He got an ankle injury.
He had an injury.
Because I bet if he plays in, how many games he missed? 7 or 8, something like that. Dude, I bet if he plays in 3 of those, the numbers are probably
there was just a
good enough.
There was a bad enough combination.
Yeah.
That led to him reasonably getting left off of all 3 teams. And that combination was some combination of production went down, injury, team success went away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, well, we don't have to take somebody from the 8th place team in the West. So he got left off, and it cost him real money.
Yeah.
He's still fine. He ain't going to go broke, but real costly. Financially costly.
Definitely.
The way the season ended. So now the big question becomes, like, what do the Grizzlies do?
Mm-hmm.
And they admit, I'm not going to bore you because we'll talk about this 50,000
That's
times
right.
between now and the day it gets. And it's all hypothetical anyway. Like, I could talk about this stuff for 30 minutes and then it'd be like, so what do you think? And I'd be like, well, we'll see. That's where we're going to end on this. We'll see. But there is still a scenario where they can get an extension done this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
It will not be for as many years, and it would not be as lucrative, but there's something that could still be done. And if not, then you go into next season, and he would still be in a position to take another shot at reaching the things that allow you to be Supermax eligible. And, those conversations can continue. So it's complex. But the big headline from the weekend was that we will never, or at least for a year, not have to talk about the possibility of a Jaren Jackson Jr. Supermax extension. What would that look like? Because that would have been the other thing where it got a little complicated, awkward, perhaps. We have lived in a world in the NBA where if you were really good and you were up for a contract extension, your franchise would just give you a max extension. Mm-hmm. Like Desmond Bain just got a max extension. You just get a max extension. But the Supermax extensions are crazy.
Lucrative, yeah.
Like, I think not entirely, they're not doing what they were intended to do, which is they were intended to give a franchise, or at least in part, a franchise the greatest path possible to re-sign their own stars. Mm-hmm. But what it also does is put you in a position where you
can't sign anybody else.
Well, no, or you just you go, okay, Jaren Jackson Jr., we love you and we can give you $345 million, but we don't want to. We don't want to give you $345 million. That's MVP money.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you give Jokic $345 million. You give Giannis $345 million. But, I'm saying all this respectfully. He's amazing, but there's different levels to this stuff. So there could have been this awkward situation that's created where it's like, I'm Supermax eligible. Woohoo! You can give me $345. And they're like, yeah, we can, but we don't want to do that. That's too much. That's like, the idea that you're now eligible to pay somebody $345 million is not the best thing for a franchise. So that's all off the table now. But that would have been an interesting way to go into the offseason. Like, where's the sweet spot in getting a deal done? If the top is $345, $350, but you don't want to go there because it's fine. It's because it's just nonsensical to go there with it. It hinders the rest of your roster, and it's just you'll rarely. It's unlikely you'll look back at that and go, yeah, that was a good deal. Have all this money tied up in him. So now that's off the table, and priority one, I believe, will be trying to get some version of a new deal done. But it's not necessary to get it done this offseason. I think it'd be beneficial, and it would ease a lot of just for every day something's not done. We'll be at Media Day later on this year, and Jaren Jackson Jr. will either have a deal done, and we'll go, so what's it like to get that deal done? Or he won't have a deal done, and we'll be like, so what's going on with the deal?
Yep.
So we'll see, but that was the big news from Friday.
Number 2.
Rough stuff for the WNBA. Caitlin Clark has suffered a quad injury and will be sidelined for at least 2 weeks. She's the economic center of the entire thing, and now this sport will have to move on, at least temporarily, without her. It'll be fine. You'll look up and she'll be back before you know it. 2 weeks always sounds like forever until you live through it, and it's like, oh, well, that's over already. Think about any vacation. Think about anything. Like, I went to the doctor with the hamstring tear, a week ago. And I was told, yeah, it's going to be about 2 weeks. And, I'm almost there. It's like when I heard it, I was like, 2 weeks? And I'm not even going to be able to feel comfortable for 2 weeks? Oh, my God, that's forever. And now I feel pretty good right now. And the 2 week mark is, it'll be here before you know it. So it sounds oh my God, what will they do without Caitlin Clark for 2 weeks? It'll only be 2 weeks. And frankly, it maybe just give us a little bit of opportunity to breathe.
We're just going to need to stay afloat if we're the Fever.
Got to stay afloat?
Got to stay afloat. We get the Mystics up next, which I say we. I haven't picked my WNBA.
It sounds like you have.
No, I haven't.
It sure sounds like you have. You're dropping a lot of wheeze.
I haven't. It's just, you want the Indiana Fever to stay relevant. You don't want her to get back and then be too far in the hole like in her rookie year, right?
That's not what I want. That is not what I want. That is not what I want. Because all seriousness, like the Fever were not considered real contenders last season, but they are this season. Like there are people
she's
who
an MVP candidate.
There are people who understand the WNBA better than I, who look at the Fever and say, yes, that is a franchise that could win the whole thing this year. So you wouldn't want them to hurt their playoff position too much while Caitlin is sidelined. But I do think for the league, it's not good. It's not good. I hate it when people try to find the silver lining in something. Like sometimes just things aren't good. And like Caitlin Clark being unavailable for at least 2 weeks is not good for the Fever. It's not good for the WNBA. Like we, meaning people in sports, will talk less about the WNBA over the next 2 weeks because she's not involved in it, right? But maybe that's a decent thing if you're trying to find a silver lining. Maybe we could all just take a little breather for a second because it got real nasty last week. You had people having to disclose.
The discourse, it got really wild.
People had to disclose interracial relationships.
Bro, it got really extreme, yes.
And then, like, people were attacking each other and then apologizing and then attacking again. It got like real wild out there in them WNBA streets, man.
Yeah, let's just like settle in, enjoy the hoops.
Let's just enjoy the hoops.
Yeah, let's just enjoy the hoops.
Let's just enjoy the hoops
for a few weeks.
Let's just sit down for a second, enjoy the hoops, and see if we can never, for at least 2 weeks, ever mention the color of someone's skin in the WNBA.
Oh,
you think we can do that?
Someone's going to write listen, some publication's going to write a story about how Caitlin Clark's return is like some kind of big issue for some reason.
Maybe the blessing here is that we can go 2 weeks without discussing somebody's skin color in the WNBA.
That would be nice.
But I'm not sure. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, okay. Get back soon, Caitlin.
Number 3.
The American Music Awards were held last night in Las Vegas. I did too. Be honest. Did you enjoy it?
No.
I didn't either.
No, it was not good. I mean, if we're being honest, the reason it wasn't good is because nobody came to it. They didn't have the star power.
They didn't have the star power. This is a real problem. And like, nobody at CBS cares what I think about this, even if I do work in the same building.
They didn't get you in the board meeting for the AMAs? Okay.
No, they don't even know who I exist, all right? But as I was watching it last night, because I was excited. We turned on, we were on YouTube watching red carpets. I was like, I like award shows.
I like them too.
And, Kendrick Lamar was nominated more than anybody else. I was like, this might be a fun night of television. And you know what the main problem with the AMAs is? It's literally the thing that they celebrate is their main problem. Do you know what it is? The thing they celebrate, you know what they tell you? It's the American Music Awards. It is the biggest awards show voted on by fans. That's what they celebrate. The fans get to pick. Well, you know what the problem with fans? Sometimes
they pick wrong.
They're just not good. You know what the problem with Americans when it comes to voting? Sometimes.
No, they do it wrong. Be careful.
We're not the best voters. I think there's one thing I know about Americans. We're not the best voters.
Okay.
We don't always vote sensibly. Okay? And American Music Awards is a great example of that. I'm sure there's other examples in our country where Americans don't vote sensibly. None pop to mind right now, but I bet they exist. But that's the problem with the American Music Awards. They celebrate, it's the largest awards show voted on by the fans. And that is also the thing that's killing them. And do you want to know why? Fans are dumb.
What'd they do wrong last night? They barely showed any of the presentations of the awards because no one was there to accept it.
Okay, so here's what genuinely happens on some level. Taylor Swift probably ain't showing up because she's just, unwinding with her boyfriend. But she definitely ain't showing up if she ain't cleaning house. Okay? You can get Taylor Swift to show up to lose to Billie Eilish or whatever.
Yeah.
All right? So, boom. You tell Kendrick Lamar, you've got the biggest tour in the world, the biggest album in the world. You just did the Super Bowl. You've got the biggest song of the year. But Eminem's winning the award. Well, no, I love Eminem, but I'm not coming for that. I'm running things right now. I'm going to come there and watch somebody else. And then Eminem, like, he doesn't even care about these things, so he's not coming.
Right.
So you give the award to Eminem because that's what the voting says. Well, he's not coming. Plus, he probably on some level was like, I'm a GOAT, but this is not the year to be beating Kendrick Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nobody's had a bigger year. And I bet you feel a little silly in this moment, even if you are a GOAT like Eminem's a GOAT. And then you get Billie Eilish winning like Artist of the Year, and like she's amazing, I guess. Certainly accomplished and successful, but was she really the Artist of the Year for the past year? No, of course not. She wasn't.
Why not?
She's great, but she's not the Artist of the Year. But the fans said so. So once you start handing out awards to people in a way that it doesn't seem deserving, you're going to have trouble. It doesn't work the same way.
Yep.
And you also, like, the Memorial Day thing might be a problem. Like, do people really just want to travel? And
I think that's a problem. I think trying to do anything on Memorial Day, I bet you're going to find out that the NBA ratings weren't that great yesterday. Like, I think trying to do a big event on Memorial Day is tough.
I just think there's a lot of things that lead to it being a little less than it otherwise could be.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole thing is centered around, and I know this is for me. I'm like an old man. I got it. You don't have to tell me. I see myself. I'm an old man. I understand. But like when the main things your show is centered around are Jennifer Lopez, Rod Stewart, and Janet Jackson.
Whoa.
Legends, all of them.
Uh-huh.
It is 2025.
Yeah. That's Janet's first public performance in 7 years.
It was.
She was great, by the way.
It's so funny.
How old is Janet Jackson?
Oldish, older than us.
Hold, please.
So it's interesting watching these things. Like, they're... So
59.
Lou, so we're all watching together as a family. Lou says, who's Janet Jackson? He had never heard of Janet Jackson. Did not know who Janet Jackson was. I said, that's Janet Jackson. It's Michael Jackson's sister.
And he said, who's Michael Jackson?
No, he said, oh. I said, do you know Michael Jackson? He said, yes, of course. And I said, okay. And Janet Jackson was talking, and he said, she sounds like Michael Jackson.
She does. She does sound just like him.
He said, she sounds like Michael Jackson, but she doesn't look like Michael Jackson. And I said, buddy, Michael Jackson doesn't look like Michael Jackson. You have no idea.
Yeah, you got no idea.
You have no idea. All right.
We don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
All right. But so I felt like also they were trying to do too many things at once. Again, this is all way up here, and I'm way down here. Nobody needs my advice on this. But Kai Cenat comes on, and my kids are like, Kai.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they like...
Yeah, I saw him present SZA.
Okay, yeah. So they were like, the only reason Kai Cenat's giving out an award is because my kids will recognize him and go, oh, wow.
Right.
But then it's also like, right after that, you're just running out Rod Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, who we trying to get here? You trying to get my 8-year-old? Or are you trying to get my mom? Maybe trying to get both, but I think when you try it, I don't think you get either.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody walks out of that show last night going, that was great. I'm glad I spent the 2 hours doing this. And the biggest reason was lack of star power just in the building, on the stage. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that the awards go to the right people, the most deserving people. Who is really this person of the year? Who is really the biggest hip-hop artist of the year? Who is really the song of the year? I don't know that when you leave it up to voting like that we're going to get the right answers. And if you don't get the right answers, it tends to rip away some credibility. And I just was like, I was excited to watch it. When it was over, I was like, okay. Yeah. I guess that's something we did for 2 hours, but it felt like a waste of time.
One of the best concerts I've ever been to was Janet Jackson, the Velvet Rope tour.
What year?
So it was when that Velvet Rope album came out. because that was the so that would have been
Janet Jackson is a legend. I'm not trying to be dismissive of Janet Jackson's legendary status. I just think in the year 2025, if the centerpieces of the entire show probably shouldn't be significantly older than me.
So it would have been 97.
Well, I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah. Well, that was when she was like her peak of her powers.
Okay, good. That was 28 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 28 years ago.
Good early memory, man.
That was 28 years ago. So
it's like one of the first concerts I can remember.
I'm glad you got to experience that. Janet Jackson is an icon. It's just like there's this award show on last night, and the most visible people connected to it were all older than me. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to work.
I think you're right.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm right.
Number 4.
Shohei Ohtani. Oh, he's doing it again. Led off Sunday's game.
GOAT.
With a home run against the Mets. Led off Sunday's game against the Mets with a home run. And then on Monday, on Memorial Day, stepped in the box to lead off again. And Kyra, if we've got that queued off, watch how quickly Shohei Ohtani made this a 1-0 baseball game.
Williams has one that he likes, and off we go.
He is outrageous.
I love that, man.
He is outrageous. He hit one at Citi Field this weekend. Upper deck, just like, yo, man, you're not supposed to hit a ball like that. We couldn't even get, and now we're underway. Boom!
Like, I don't think he's doing it for me, but when it keeps happening, man, like, it's just, I've been riding with him all season.
You on that Ohtani train?
I've been riding with him all season.
You've been betting on Ohtani.
Buddy.
He's probably been betting on himself. He's probably been betting on himself.
He is an absolute gift.
Well, it's outrageous. I saw, like, Ohtani to homer was plus 240.
And you know what's crazy?
But that's not even a good number.
Right. That's the thing.
Like, statistically, that doesn't make sense. Like, you take a baseball person and say plus 240 for Ohtani to homer today, they'd be like, no, that's a terrible bet.
Right.
But it took one pitch.
That's the thing. Back-to-back days. Dude, and the crazy thing, I saw someone post, he's about to start pitching. Like, dude.
He threw a bullpen this weekend.
He's going to run away with the MVP.
He is maybe about to win another MVP. Right now, he's hitting .295, 19 homers, 33 RBI. He's first in the major leagues in homers, first in runs, second in slugging, third in OPS. As of this moment, we are headed right back where we've been for a minute. Aaron Judge, AL MVP, Shohei Ohtani.
It really does.
NL MVP. Like, they're just operating on different levels than everybody else right now. And yesterday was the second time in his career he led off back-to-back games with homers. He is on pace right now to be the NL MVP. And if he wins the MVP again this year, he'll have 4. Do you know how many other people in the history of Major League Baseball have won 4 MVPs?
I bet it's less than 10.
Oh, it's way less than 10.
3.
It's less than 3.
2.
It's less than 2.
Who?
Barry Bonds.
That's crazy.
Barry Bonds won 7. Nobody else has ever won more than 3. Bonds won 7. He's the GOAT. And Ohtani has 3 and looks like he's on his way to 4, which means he could be a 4-time MVP and be only the second person to ever win at least 4 MVPs in Major League Baseball. And he could do it at the age of 31. He's 30 right now, turns 31 in July. He'd be 31 years old with 4 MVPs.
That's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. Speaking of home runs, did you see Ronald Acuna in his return this weekend? The Josh Selly.
He did it in the minor leagues.
Yeah, I know he did it in the minor leagues. I think we even played it, but dude, to see it on that stage, it was his first at bat, I think.
This is a tough one for me because the Braves have damaged me my whole life. If it wasn't Greg Maddux, it was John Smoltz. These dudes been killing me my whole life.
Yeah.
Chipper Jones, all of them. The Braves have been the biggest hindrance to my professional sports happiness my entire life. I should hate them. I don't hate them. I love Ronald Acuna.
Right.
I love Ronald Acuna. He is so awesome. He's just fun to watch.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like it feels like if you're at Major League Baseball, And we've talked a lot about some of these guys like Ellie De La Cruz and Ronald Acuna, Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge. Like, you've got some like real star power in your league right now.
Yes.
Juan Soto and Pete Alonso with the Mets. Like, you've got real star power in your league. Like, you got to capitalize
cool players.
on it. Yeah.
Lindor's fun.
Yes.
Like, kids like Lindor. And Ellie De La Cruz and Shohei obviously is just on another stratosphere. And Acuna's another one. Like, I don't know how much fun he is to manage. He seems to drive his manager crazy sometimes. But he's incredible to watch. We're going to Atlanta next month maybe for Mets Braves. At least that's the plan. And obviously we're going to see Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso. But it'll be cool for my kids in person to be able to see Ronald Acuna and Austin Riley and the Atlanta Braves as well. Like, that's one of the great baseball franchises. And I'd like to hate them. I'd like to tell you I hate them, but I don't. I don't.
They're pretty fun.
They're fun. Like, I like players on the Braves team. I like watching some of them play. I like watching Austin Riley unload on a ball. I like watching Acuna run around. I like some of their players, and baseball's in a good spot right now. I know it's not the type of sport in the year 2025 that everybody pays attention to 7 days a week, no matter what. You don't know all the headlines all the time. Like if something significant happens in the NBA, it is impossible to be on social media, be on ESPN, and not be aware of it. It's just gonna be in front of you. Big things can happen in Major League Baseball, and it's a little bit like NHL. Like, I don't know on a day-to-day basis. I have no idea what goes on in the NHL. You're not aware of it just by existing. Baseball can be like that, but if you're into it at all, if you like it at all, care about it at all, there's some really good plays right now.
Yep.
There's like some real stars, like people who could transcend just baseball, and Shohei is obviously one of them, and Acuna is as well.
Number 5.
Congratulations to the SEC. They're going to be hosting eight regionals for the NCAA baseball tournament. The bracket is now set. 8 SEC schools get to host, including Ole Miss and Tennessee. Bennett, do you follow this stuff this weekend? Did you even know this stuff was happening?
A little bit, but I'll get more. As it gets further along, I get more into it. So, I'll be watching going forward.
I have a real blind. This is a place where I have a real blind spot, because to me, I'm aware that all this is happening. I am not aware that people are out just like talking about it.
Okay, it's crazy that you say that, because I took my kid to a birthday party last weekend, and it was at one of those places that's like a souped up baseball simulator type places, and they had like their own like little room where they were playing dodgeball and all that kind of stuff.
We went to one last week in Oxford. Same thing.
All the dads are talking about NCAA baseball.
This is
all of them. They're all different fans of different SEC teams. And I'm like trying to keep up, and I'm asking them about it and stuff like that. But I'm just like, it's one of those things that it's not getting talked about as much in the national sports conversation. But dude, they care. Like, there's a lot of these dads that care, man. Like, especially in this part of the country.
Yeah. So like on Saturday, we had a little baseball party at the coach's house, and the weather was bad, but it was, it was cooking out and kids running around, and it was a nice day. And, because of the weather, you end up spending more time inside the house than you thought you would. Because it was one of those deals, like a lot of land, pond, and pool, and hey, you want to fish, you want to go swimming, you want to ride a 4-wheeler. It's just kids are having a blast. But the weather was bad, and so you end up congregating inside the home. And I honestly had turned the television on. I took charge, if you don't mind. I took charge. I was just like, hey, thank you for welcoming us to your home, but could you point me in the direction of the remote control, please? I ain't trying to stand around here all day just like not looking at something. And I turned it on WNBA. I turned on Indiana Fever. We're playing on CBS Saturday afternoon. So I turned that on. And then I felt pressure in little pockets of parents. I kept hearing them whisper. So how's Ole Miss doing? You seen the Ole Miss score? And I said, okay, I see what's going on here. I'm trying to support America's most watched network, the Network of Stars. But it sounds like these people want to watch college baseball on a Saturday afternoon. And we turned it on. It was great. It was Ole Miss and
someone.
And they were playing baseball.
Doesn't matter.
It was the semifinals of the SEC tournament on Saturday. And Ole Miss won the game. And they advanced to play Vanderbilt on, I guess it was yesterday, when it was Sunday, whatever day it was. And we turned, then suddenly I'm in. So we're sitting around our house on that day. And I'm like, actually, I think my wife said, hey, you going to turn the Ole Miss game on? And I said, what? What is my wife asking me about the Ole Miss baseball game for? But this is what I'm trying to tell you. There's a whole world out there I don't think you and I really know exist where people are watching college baseball and talking about it and caring about it.
Yeah.
And I was a part of that world this weekend.
No, I think there's for sure. I mean, nationally, but like as far as like, sports coverage in the South goes, I think maybe it's undercovered based on the amount of people that care about it.
And go turn on the TV.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people there.
Yeah.
The stands are packed. It's a real product now. It's a real thing that matters in a way that is, I think, off of most people who do this for a living, it's kind of off of our radar.
Yeah.
But it's a real thing that's sort of bubbling right underneath the mainstream sports conversation. And it's a compelling product. And now it gets to be on its biggest stage. So, like, if you go to Oxford this weekend,
it's going to be popping off.
It's going to feel like a football weekend.
Yeah.
That might be an exaggeration, but it won't feel like a normal weekend.
Right.
It won't feel like, hey, I guess just what's going on in Oxford this weekend. It'll be like, man, something must be going on in Oxford this weekend. And it'll be college baseball. You go to Knoxville, same thing. You go to any of these places, Hattiesburg, same thing. It's going to feel like, man, this is a big time deal here. And I don't know that that's always been the case, but it's certainly the case now. And it's not unlike women's college basketball. Like, that was always just another thing. Like, it's football and men's basketball, and then nothing else matters, except for at UConn or Tennessee or wherever it might matter. But outside of that, it's like football, men's basketball, and then whatever. Well, women's basketball now matters all over the country in real ways. And baseball, college baseball matters. Maybe not all over the country, but certainly all over the South.
That's right.
In real ways. Like, it matters. Like, I've got friends who care more about Ole Miss baseball than they would care about Ole Miss basketball. And I got friends who care about Mississippi State baseball more than they care about Mississippi State basketball. And I'm always interested when I end up in these circles that I otherwise might not be in. And I go, oh, this is what they're talking about. They're not sitting around talking about Jaren Jackson Jr. Supermax. They're talking about college baseball. They know these players. They know the rotations. They know who the starting pitcher is tomorrow and what his ERA is. These are different conversations that are happening. I'm going to open my eyes a little bit.
I'm opening my eyes, too.
I'm going to open my eyes a little bit. I'm going to watch college baseball this week.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go.
Who are we rooting for?
Are the Hogs involved?
They should be.
Are they, though? I'm not sure.
Are the Hogs involved? I think they should be.
Are the Hogs involved? Kyra, do you have that graphic still? I think it has all the regionals on there.
8 SEC teams hosted. We're going to pick an SEC team to care about right now.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I see them.
Yeah, I knew they should. I knew they. Is that them?
Yeah, we're calling the Hogs.
Okay, good.
Fayetteville Regional.
All right.
That's easy.
You want to go with Fayetteville?
That's who I'm going with. Yeah, I'm rolling with the Hogs.
But I'm a Mississippian.
You take who you. I mean, I feel like you got some loyalties you got to live up to. My loyalty is to the Hogs. Because I don't know if you've been paying attention. Memphis baseball,
it's tough.
It's just been a rough go for a long time.
My whole life.
Yeah. It's just been a rough go for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They still have my heart, but I need to pick a team in this.
If we could ever figure out Memphis baseball, like just how to make it, and I don't think you can. Like, I don't even think you can because you're competing with the SEC.
But the thing is like logically you should say, okay, well, we'll just get every player that couldn't make one of these. These are the best teams in the country, dude.
Yeah.
Like you would just think that you could get the guys that couldn't, crack the rotation on these big SEC programs. I don't know.
You would think. I don't know. I don't want to start talking about baseball recruiting. Like I know what I'm talking about.
I should stop.
Perhaps you should
I thought it sounded good.
It sounded good.
Yeah.
It does sound good. I just don't know if it's true. But it does sound good.
If someone came up to me with a microphone and was like, hey, we need 5 minutes on just the state of Memphis baseball and what's wrong, it's like, well,
Right. I don't know.
Regionally, see that.
But here's what I would like to think. In truth, there is way more high-level baseball talent in this area than there is basketball talent. I'm just telling you, we like to think of ourselves as a basketball city. There are more Division I baseball players coming out of the Memphis area. Now it's Collierville and DeSoto County.
Yeah.
But like in the area,
the Mid-South, yeah.
It's there's more baseball players here than there are basketball players, more quality ones. But they largely do not go to Memphis. They want to go to the SEC. Like I got a buddy of mine I grew up with. His son graduated from the same school my young sons go to. And his son's like at Kentucky right now. Like, great college baseball player. But he's at Kentucky.
Yeah.
He's in the SEC. I do wonder if there was ever be a way to just let them all go to Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Arkansas at a high school. Keep the relationships intact, and once they get there and get buried on a bench, bring them back to Memphis. And just say, we're going to recruit bounce-back SEC players from the area and see if you can build the best AAC baseball program out of that, or a good one out of that. I don't know. I'm talking about stuff I don't know anything about.
Well, and some of the
folks... I to your point, I have forever found it frustrating that the University of Memphis has a subpar baseball program when there is so much baseball talent within 30 miles of that campus.
And some of the folks are saying in the chat that their NIL situation isn't great.
Oh, of course,
which is, I'm sure, yeah.
But listen, there's a million reasons why Memphis baseball can't, take footing. Money is one, conference affiliation is one, lack of history would be one, but just you have a Division I baseball program in a part of the country where you could just draw a 30-mile radius around the city, and you could build I think this is true. I'm about to tell you something I think is true. I have no idea if it's true. Sounds like it could be true. If you could do nothing but take the best players from this area and put them at the University of Memphis over a 3-year period, just all the best ones, they come here, you'd have a top 20 baseball program.
I think that's probably true.
I think it feels like it could be true.
It feels right to me.
That much, what I'm trying to say is there's that much talent here. It just does not go to Memphis. And perhaps it never would, right?
Yeah.
Perhaps it never would. But it doesn't. And so Memphis is not involved in the NCAA tournament, if you were asking.
And so, again, I'll be calling the Hogs this week.
I think I'm hotty toddy.
Okay. I think that's the smart move on your part.
I think I'm going to be an Ole Miss Rebel this week.
Okay.
I think as a Mississippian, I think I'm going to be an Ole Miss Rebel this week. Hotty toddy.
I'm in.
Go Rebs. Let's watch baseball this week.
Let's go.
All right. Be back with GP's Carryout.
Catch us if you can at Southland Casino Hotel and win your share of up to $1.8 million in free play and prizes. Join us for drawings every Saturday in May, June, and July. Each month, over 900 winners will take home free play or drive off in a new car or motorcycle. Be there for all 6 grand finale drawings and try to catch us if you can, only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour.
The First Ladies of FedEx Forum, the Grizz Girls, are known across the NBA for setting the standard for professional dance and entertainment, and they are looking for dancers to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. With the chance to gain professional dance experience and connect with the Memphis community, auditioning for the Grizz Girls is an opportunity you do not want to miss. Come show up at Open Call Auditions Saturday, July 26th at the Memphis Sports and Events Center. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
1, 2, 3.
Ready, go.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Welcome back. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South. Buddy, if you like gloomy weather, Bennett, it sounds like it's going to be a good week for you.
Let's go.
Why is it just rain all the time now?
But this is the good kind.
This is a good kind of rain?
Yeah, because there's no lightning, so you could just enjoy like a nice little shower on. Dude, I don't mind it. So someone in the chat, I think Desmond in the chat earlier was like, couldn't grill yesterday. Dude, I grilled in the rain yesterday. I grilled in the rain yesterday. I did burgers and dogs in the rain. Yeah.
We did have grilling in the rain this week. I wasn't in charge. I let the real men handle that.
Yeah.
But it was a nice crawfish boil. Do you like a crawfish boil?
Are you kidding me? I can't go a summer without one.
I've been to 2 in the past 2 weeks.
Man, they're amazing. I love crawfish.
I don't even try. I have tried it, and I do not hate it.
I love crawfish.
But I'm not interested in trying it again. But I don't hate it. But I'm never like, I need more. I need to do this again.
I need it.
I don't need it.
I need mud bugs.
I like being around it. I don't mind being around it. I like the whole vibe. I like the vibe.
Yeah.
I like the vibe of a crawfish boil. But I don't need to like suck the head, if that's what they say.
Yeah, suck the brains out. I like that too.
Okay.
By the way, I have done my research, so I'll be locked in this Friday at 3 o'clock as my Arkansas Razorbacks, the number 3 seed in the Fayetteville Regional, take on the North Dakota State. Is that the Bison? I always get it confused, and I never know which one Luke went to. Luke, our great social media.
The only thing I know is South Dakota State. That's a jackrabbit.
Yeah.
I just know about jackrabbits.
Yeah, Luke went to either North Dakota or North Dakota State, and I always forget which one.
Well, you should maybe.
I hope it's North Dakota State though. So
perhaps you should put a
we
note.
can have a nice rival.
Perhaps you should make yourself a note. I'll be rooting for my Ole Miss Rebels in baseball this weekend.
All right, you guys are in the Oxford Regional.
That makes perfect sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, who
do we need to beat?
Yeah, you guys need to beat the Western. Well, no. You guys need to beat the Murray State Racers. You're going to be playing on Friday at 8 o'clock on ESPN Plus.
Not worried about a Murray State Racer. With all due respect to Ja, I'm not worried about a Murray State Racer.
I was going to say they're like kind of one of those underdog Southern schools. Like I would not take that one lightly.
Bennett, they have to come to the SIP.
Like, you think I'm worried about North Dakota State coming to Fayetteville? No.
They have to come to the SIP.
Worried.
They have to come to the SIP. You think I'm worried about Murray State coming
travels.
to the SIP? With
you
all
see how many
due
people they bring to these Grizzlies games? They travel, dude.
What if we turn on the TV Friday night and Jaws down there in the dugout?
I'd be scared if I was you at that point.
Then it gets difficult.
That gets scary. If Jaws down there supporting Murray State baseball against Ole Miss, I'd be worried if I was an Ole Miss fan. Yeah.
That's where it could get tough.
Yeah.
That's where it could get tough.
All right.
Let's, what are we doing?
I think we're going to do this carry-out thing.
JP's Carry-Out. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
A whole bunch of stuff. But let's circle back to how I spent my Monday night. Yeah, watching the AMAs and absolutely Game 4 Thunder Timberwolves. Thunder up, by the way. I know you probably loved Game 3, but there was always going to be a Game 4. I know you loved Game 3, but there was always going to be a Game 4. Thunder up. Thunder up.
Man, that Chet Holmgren dunk.
They're 5 wins away from the title. My Thunder are 5 wins away from the title.
I don't think we can be we can be talking about Chet and how skinny he is anymore after that play last night.
They are awfully young, and they are mostly free of playoff scars.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also just 5 wins away from the title and an overwhelming favorite now to win it. Thunder up. Say it.
Never.
Thunder up.
I will never say it.
Thunder up. So I watched that
Look, and
last
who was
night.
on sideline last night for the NBA?
I don't know. I was watching Rookie of the Year.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I didn't get to.
He had it muted.
I had the game muted for the most part. I was able to convince my family to pause Rookie. It was Lisa Salters.
It was Lisa, yeah.
Because the postgame interview was funny.
That's what I was just about to. Nah, dude. Jalen Williams, I'm just like, okay, dude. That's why I don't like them. She asked him a question. He does this whole, oh, you just play hard or something.
I know, but
it blows her off. I'm like, all right,
but
dude.
what was funny about it was Shay stepped in and made it funny.
He did.
She was like, okay, Shay, I'll come to you, and he said, I got you. I'll elaborate.
Yeah, because she was not happy with Jalen Williams' response.
I'm just here doing my. You know what this is? We both know what the job is.
And you're gonna give me a one-word answer? Come on.
It'd be like if you bring in 2-time NBA All-Star Roy Hibbert's here, and I go, Roy, so you were at Game 3 on over the weekend. You got to take your family back to Indianapolis, and you were there for Knicks Pacers. What was that like? And he's like, it was cool. It'd be like, come on, man. You know what we're doing here. You know what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Lisa Salters more or less said to Jalen Williams last night. Like, come on. You know what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Don't give me a 4-word answer. But I love that Shay recognized
what was happening in the moment. Yeah.
And when she said, okay, Shay, I'll come to you. And he sort of smiled and he said, I got you. I'll elaborate. I just thought that was funny. I know what you need. You need some words.
Yep.
You need some words from one of us about what just happened. I got you, Lisa. It's good. And I love, this is all small stuff, but I like stuff. I notice it and I like it. At the end of the interview, when I hear Shai Gilgeous-Alexander say, thanks, Lisa, or thanks, Allie, or when they address their sideline reporter by name, might not mean anything to you. I like it. I like it. I like when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last night says, thanks, Lisa.
He's making it tough to make me hate him. It's I mean, I can hang on to Foul Merchant, right? I can, but it sounds like he don't even hate that. He's fine with it.
I'm sure he doesn't love it, but he
said, "Oh, it's a compliment."
Yeah,
I just take it as a compliment. Damn it.
You can say whatever you want to about him. I don't know if he's really the best player in the world, but he is averaging 30 points in the Western Conference Finals, and possibly headed for a 5-game series in the books, done on his way to the NBA Finals for the first time, where they will be a favorite over whoever they play. He's doing it. He's delivering.
It's funny.
He's delivering.
I said to my wife a few games back, it was when they were both down 0-2, and I said, and then Minnesota has the massive Game 3 and beats them by 1 million points, and I said, I know they just blasted them. I still feel like the Knicks have such a better chance of coming back in that Pacers series than the Timberwolves do in that Thunder series, because I had seen it with the Grizzlies. It's like the Thunder, for better or for worse, they are one of those teams that if they know they don't have it in that specific game, they will let go and just say, okay, we'll get you on the next one.
Well, there was a moment that it was mic'd up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in Game 3, and he's on the bench. You might have seen it. And he's talking to somebody, and they're just sort of down $1 billion and letting it play out. And Shay's like, if we clean this up, and it's still not good, but it's not this. It just seemed very calm and just very sure of himself. I know they're young, the youngest team in the NBA. They don't come across that way to me.
I gotta agree with that.
They seem comfortable. They seem it's Anthony Edwards and his teammates having to answer all the questions about what this, what about that, what about this, and OKC just seems like they seem fine. They might get Halliburton or Brunson in the finals. We'll see, but if you just go keep holding on to they're too young or too this or too that to do it, you're just going to end up being wrong probably. Certainly, that's what all the betting markets indicate right now. They are overwhelming favorites to be your NBA champion. So. Yeah, I watched that last night and the AMAs last night. But I mentioned we also, my son just ran. I've never even heard him say Rookie of the Year before. And he was like, I want to watch Rookie of the Year. So I was like, all right, we turned it on. And then I was like, wow, this will be a great moment. Because I haven't thought about Rookie of the Year in forever either. But back in 2015, I was at Wrigley Field, and I saw the star of Rookie of the Year, the man who played Henry Rowan-Gardner, and he was right for, look at us. Now, do you notice my hat?
Him.
Look at that hat.
Why are you wearing a Cubs hat?
Because as my buddy Mark there approached, his name isn't Henry Rowan-Gardner.
No, Henry is his name in the movie.
His actual name is Thomas Ian Nicholas.
There we go.
And my buddy Mark was like, hey, there's Henry Rowan-Gardner.
You can't walk up to him with that Mets hat on.
I did, and he was hilarious. He said, of course I'll take a picture with you guys, but you got to take off the Mets hat. And somebody threw me a Cubs hat, and I put on the Cubs hat, and that's the picture with the star of Rookie of the Year.
He's a real deal baseball fan, too. He's got the dang flipped over hat with the superstitious hat or whatever.
If I remember correctly, that's when Jacob deGrom was shutting them down on their way to a 4-game sweep that sent the Mets to the 2015 World Series.
How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
But that young man, he's 44 now, but that young man who has been a figure, like I've known that he existed forever, since my childhood. That was a huge film. And then my little boy wanted to watch it. And I was like, he's going to think this is the coolest thing in the world when I show him this picture. Nothing. No reaction. I couldn't believe it. I was like, if I'd ever asked my dad if I could watch Rocky or Rambo, and my dad would be like, oh, yeah, of course we'll put on Rambo. Mm-hmm. And did I ever tell you about the time I just happened to be sitting behind Rambo at a football game, and here's a picture of me and Rambo, and my dad showed me a picture of him and Sylvester Stallone? I would have been like...
fall out of my chair.
And my whole family was just completely unimpressed. Messed up my night.
These kids, man.
Just nobody was impressed. Nobody cared. Nobody cares about anything I do.
I know, same. That says something.
It does say something.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly.
I don't know what.
I don't know. Maybe... I don't know what it says exactly, but it definitely says something. All right.
What's today's biggest game?
Oh, we're going back to Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Okay.
We're going to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, downtown Indianapolis. Papa Halliburton's going to be in attendance.
Yes, he is.
He can't be courtside, but he'll be in a suite, and I'm confident TNT's cameras will find him. Tonight, 7 o'clock tip, Knicks Pacers, Game 4. Indiana up 2-1 in the series. 2.5-point favorite tonight. Totals 220.5. We'll see if Timothy Chalamet is back in attendance. Mm-hmm. He was there in Indianapolis for Game 3. Big Bet Bennett, how are you going to act? And I want to make sure you understand the stakes.
Yeah.
Before
we did okay on Friday.
And so right now you are 227, 205, and 4. You're negative 1.0 unit.
And I believe that the pick was I think it was the Pacers when we left here, maybe. I can't remember.
All I know is if you get this right tonight, you will be even for the first time in years, literally years. This is a big opportunity for you.
My heart is with the Knicks, but I feel like this is just a good spot for the Pacers. Oh. I just feel like this is a good spot for the Pacers here. I do.
We're going to get a Game 5 no matter what. So we're going to be back at MSG no matter what.
Yep.
It's just there's such a different feeling between a 3-1 series and a 2-2 series. Mm-hmm. Particularly when the team that's up 3-1 is just... Yeah. We really, to keep this compelling as it can possibly be, we need a Knicks win tonight, Bennett.
Now, the interesting thing is, in that game that they won, Tibbs shook up the lineup and played more guys, which they have not done all postseason. I wonder if that's a
change the starting lineup.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a recipe they go back to if he plays more guys and these guys are more fresh come fourth quarter. But if he sticks to his solid 8 guys like he has for most of these playoffs, it just feels like a good spot for the Pacers to me. I'm gonna go Pacers here.
All right, Bennett.
Yeah,
it disappoints me. I'd like to tell you I hope you're right, but I don't hope you're right.
I hope I'm wrong too. I want the Knicks. Don't get it twisted. I want the Knicks. My head's telling me Pacers.
7 o'clock tip. We're on TNT.
What are we watching on TV?
Did you participate in The Last of Us season finale?
I did not. We still got 2 episodes left, so I gotta catch up. I'm not caught up.
Did you know that that it was the season finale. Only episode 7.
No, I had no clue.
I had no clue.
I had
either.
no clue it was the finale. That's why my wife told me that. I was like, what? We're missing the finale? I thought we had time to catch up on this thing.
I was like,
yeah.
I got a text from my buddy Randall. He was like, what'd you think of the finale? I was like, what, the finale?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not going to ruin it. We won't even talk about it.
It was bad, wasn't it?
No.
It was good? Okay.
I don't mind the way it ended. There was one moment in it that I was like, come on.
Okay.
Now, we're talking about all sorts of stuff that aren't real. So, like, you have to suspend belief just a little bit to even participate in something like this. If you're going to get caught up in, that seems unlikely. Like, the whole thing seems unlikely. Everything about it seems unlikely.
Maybe
not.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be one of those people like, this doesn't ring true to me. But I think when you watch it, if I say, what's the biggest thing where you were like, I don't know about that, we'll agree on it, perhaps. I love the show. But I did read that not everybody loved the way the season finale went down. I didn't mind it, but not everybody loved it. But I do love the show. I think the show's great. Through 2 seasons, I cannot wait for season 3.
Yeah. No, I can't either. I think they're going to do 4 seasons. I think they said they're going to do 4 seasons. So I think that's a sweet spot.
That's a fine one.
4 seasons, perfect.
4 seasons is a sweet spot. Bennett says The Last of Us season 2 finale is now streaming on the Max app.
What's the best thing we've read?
Well, I haven't written it yet, so you haven't read it yet. It probably won't be the best, but it'll be something, and I'll have it for you later on today. Got to update the top 25 and 1 because Pop Isaacs announced that he's decommitting from Houston and enrolling at Texas A&M. NIL seems to be a motivating factor, plus possible playing time, considering Milos Uzan, Houston's best guard, announced also today that he's withdrawing from the NBA draft and returning to school. So I got to update the top 25 and 1, and I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm moving Houston from the top spot. And if I hold true to my order, that will mean that I'm moving Rick Pitino's St. John's Red Storm up to number 1 in the preseason top 25 and 1. So look for that later on today, CBSSports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's Wednesday?
That's correct, yes.
That means
I'm
Chris...
a little thrown off myself.
Oh, Chris Vernon in studio mere hours before Game 5, Timberwolves Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't wait for that. That's going to be so much fun.
I bet you're excited about that one.
Yeah, I'm going to sit him. He's going to come in here. He'll come in here, sit down, and I'm going to say, so do you think the Thunder are too young to win it all? And then I'm going to let him have fun with that one. And then I'm going to say, Chris, I know you're a historian of the NBA. The Thunder, lack of playoff scars, does that concern you as they're only 5 wins away from the whole title now? And we'll just talk about that and see.
Okay,
we'll
see where it goes.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes.
I'm sure it'll go great.
I'm sure it'll go great.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll go great. So enjoy the rest of your day. I'll enjoy mine. Let's meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.